So I just finished with Is It Possible number 4, and I've cleaned it up, and I'm ready to start another Rube Goldberg machine. So this is the video for anybody who does not know how to get their Rube Goldberg machine started, or just kind of wants tips on how to make a better one. So the first step is to gather my materials. Now the materials that you may use are going to be very different than those that I'm using, but just get the basic idea of the steps and how I go about doing it. So over here we have VHS tapes, which I use for basically support or blocking, and yeah, a couple of them are pretty childish, but I mean, hey, that's what I was into when VHS tapes were popular. We've got wooden blocks here. We've got a Kapong cup, which appears in many of my videos, a giant bin of Jenga blocks. We've got track for the trains, and track for the balls, and some tape. And as you know, tape is very, very important. Now over here, we have what I like to call the spaghetti factory. Can't really see it very well, but they are a bunch of dominoes with strings attached to them. And basically the only reason I have them over here is that I can see the different lengths and different sizes. Some of them have Connect pieces attached to them for the marble track. Some of them are actually Jenga blocks. And some of them actually split off into two strings right here. So that's what this is. I'll take you over here now. This is all the marble track that I have. And I usually keep it set up into different segments, because sometimes I just use it and think I'll use that track again, So I keep them together. Over here we have a bucket of balls of all different sizes. And I'll take you over here to the bin of blocks, which used for the marble track. Over here I have a bunch of Connect creations that I keep thinking I'll reuse and almost never do, but that's beside the point. Over here we have the train tracks and the trains, and over here we have the marble tracks and other stuff. So that is all my materials. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. The balls. Right here. All the different balls that you may have seen. Golf balls, ping pong balls, and bouncy balls. Oh, and marbles. So now the next step is to come up with an idea, which I have not done yet. So the next video is going to be about that. So the second step after you collect your materials is to come up with a basic, bare bones idea for what you want your Rube Goldberg machine to do. In my case, I've come up with this little machine here that I have basically made out of Connects here. I'm going to have a track on this end and a couple of weights on this end. And what's going to happen is a ping pong ball is going to roll across here, but it's not going to be heavy enough to pull down the weights, and it's going to continue onto a track over here. Then I'll have a golf ball roll across, but it will be heavier than the weights, and it'll pull down the ramp, which just fell off, and continue onto a track below the first one. Now keep in mind that this basic idea does not actually have to be even really thought out that much. It just kind of has to be something that you'll work on and eventually flesh out later. So you notice I haven't even added the weights, haven't even added any of the track, and I haven't even taped this thing to here. So, I mean, I'll get back to you and tell you what happens next. So this is the same machine that I showed you way back in step 2, but I've added a couple things to it. For example, I've actually taped down this ramp so that it won't move. Second of all, I've added the weights here, and I've actually calibrated it so that it is the perfect amount of weight. So if we take a ball here, if I put a ping pong ball down the ramp, it doesn't move. But if we take a golf ball, the ramp goes down. Now, this is the basic idea, and I've fleshed it out just a little bit, but I think it's time to add some actual parts to the Rube Goldberg machine. Because if I were going to name this an Is It Possible machine, there's basically no doubt in your mind that it is indeed possible. It needs to look a little bit more complicated. So, we're going to add some track and get back to you. So this is the new machine that I've added some tracks to, and I've fleshed out even further. Now, the idea is that the ball is going to roll down here and go across here, and the golf ball is also going to roll down here, but it's going to dip down and onto the other yellow track underneath. Now, this is what it looks like underneath here. That's cool. Now I'll show you what the machine looks like when I put the camera in my tripod. Well, really it's a unipod, but you get it. And I'll show you how it works. But these are some things that I've added to it. I've added this really interesting base here, which I had to fit in between this connect structure. And I've also added this track here, which is actually attached also to the connect structure as well. So I'm going to show you how the machine works. So this is that same machine, except in action. The ping pong ball is going to roll across like this, and the golf ball is going to roll across like this. Now at this stage, you can probably figure out whether you're going to go the route of an is it possible video or just a simple Rube Goldberg. In my case, I'm probably going to try to make this an is it possible video. So what I'm going to try to do now is come up with a creative use of some of the elements that are already here to make something a multi-use element. For example, I may add a track at the end of here so that when this tips down, something else happens. Or maybe I'll make these tracks so that a ball will roll down them in 2 different ways. Or some other way that will make it a little bit more complicated. But if I'm going to go down the route of just making it a Rube Goldberg, I'll just figure out ways to connect these elements and move on to the next cool thing. So I'll take you down the road that I use for my Is It Possible videos. So I'll have the next step right now. And now the big reveal. This is what the final Rube Goldberg looks like. I know. It's extremely different from when I first started with just this little tiny ramp. And it's pretty different from when I last showed you. So here's how it works. So we start out here with this ball. It goes down the ramp and continues across here and knocks off this. This releases the golf ball, which comes to here and pushes down the track, which goes of course underneath here and around here and releases this domino, which is connected to this yellow connects piece here, which is blocking this track. But the other thing that's happening at that same time is as the track is going down because of the golf ball, it's lifting up this end, which is going to release the ball. The ball is going to go down that track, and hopefully it'll be gone. Hopefully the yellow piece will be gone by the time the ball is there. Then it'll continue into here, and then fall into the cup. So, this is my final Rube Goldberg, and that is how I just created, probably, Is It Possible number 4, or 5. I think I'm on 5, right? Yeah.